It's wonderful to welcome Zealya to the podcast. She is a wonderful and talented up-and-coming musician from Newfoundland, Labrador. I've had a chance to interview plenty of great talents from that area and region in Canada, and I must say it has a very diverse music scene. And of course, you, Zealya, are one of it, happily speaking. How are you today, Zealya? Welcome to the show.
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing quite well. And you're the first person I've met named Zelia. So what's your that name?
Yeah, my parents actually they made that one up. So they couldn't find a name that they liked, and then my dad was like, "How about Zelia?" And he was like, "No, that's too different." And mom was like, "Nope, I love it. We're using it." So
Okay.
yeah,
Does that have to do with the plant Azealia?
no, nothing. Just yeah, that's more. I think that's more Azalea. I get called Zelia a lot.
Oh, okay.
But no, it's Zelia.
Yeah, and that's also the famous rapper from Australia too, right? Iggy
Yeah,
Azalea.
yeah. hmm
Hey, well, since we're recording on the 8th of March, I would like to extend my happy International Women's Day to you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So what do you have plans for today or this weekend?
Nothing big really. I did have a gig, but I had to cancel it because I had a throat infection, which sucks because I knew a lot of people that were gonna go. But nothing much really. I just did a practice for a drama rehearsal I'm in today, but other than that, just kind of laid back.
Okay. Yeah. Have a good weekend, and I hope for your speedy recovery.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, I saw that you have a rather extensive guitar collection there. So, why don't you walk
Yes.
through each of them?
Okay. That first one, the light brown one, that was my first guitar I ever purchased, like on my own. Um, it's my classical guitar. It's kind of near and dear to my heart. I don't play it as much anymore, but it's kind of what kind of started me. The middle one is actually my grandfather's guitar. It's like over like 100 years old, so I don't play that one much, because it's like more of a show thing. And the white one, my wall is my Gretsch, so that one's pretty cool, pretty bluesy.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Okay. So, which ones are you playing now?
Um, no, I play the Gretsch like for like on occasion kind of thing with the odd bluesy song or something like that. The one I'm playing now is upstairs currently. So
I see.
yeah.
Yeah. If you're watching on video, you might notice the Beatles Abbey Road poster there too. So, I'm guessing you're
Yes,
a Beatle
I'm
maniac.
a big Beatles fan.
Yeah. What do you
Yeah.
like most about them?
I like their I don't know. I just like their story. I really love Paul McCartney's storytelling in songs,
Mhm.
like how they almost like come together as like I don't know. When you listen to them, I feel like they should be like presented as like children's animations kind of thing, like Rocky Raccoon and Maxwell Silverhammer. Even though Maxwell Silverhammer is like, if you know the song, it's
Yeah,
pretty dark, but it has like such a light, boppy feel to it. It's like the music doesn't fit the lyrics, and I just I really like. I love storytelling,
I
is what
see.
I like. So yeah,
Do you prefer their post 1965 albums or their pre 65 album?
I really don't have a preference. I have a playlist called Beatlemania. So
Mhm.
if that gives you like a good description of um how much I love the Beatles. It's like almost all their songs. It's just yeah.
I see. Yeah. I would say Maxwell would be my one of my favorite of their songs.
Yeah.
I suppose Eleanor Rigby would be a close second.
Yeah, that one's good. It's not one of my favorites, but I really appreciate it for what it is. Like it's a really incredible song.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um Actually Rocky Raccoon by the Beatles is the first song I ever performed publicly. So, yeah.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the White Album, the album that is entitled The Beatles?
I I love it. I
Really?
do. It's probably my favorite. Besides Abbey Road, I don't know, it's a close tie between the two.
Hmm.
Um but yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I have mixed feelings about the album because there are a few tracks there that I find, well, it's not really music.
No?
No, I believe there's this one called Revolution 9, right? That's the one.
Mhm.
That's the one that I it's they just repeat the phrase number nine, number nine, number nine.
Yeah.
And there's this
Well,
like
they were.
drone instrumental going on.
Yeah, they were a bit experimental with some things, but
Hmm.
it's kind of it's how they got there. So.
Oh yeah. So this is a deeper one, but do you think that Pete Best would stand a chance in like the Beatles era, like instead of
Yes.
say Ringo? You know the Pete Best story, right?
No, I don't know. I'm not familiar with it.
Okay.
Sorry.
So 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 if I ask you who's the drummer of the Beatles, you would answer?
Oh, Pete. Oh my God. Yes, he was the first drummer, wasn't he?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes, I knew that. Sorry, it just didn't ring a bell. I don't know. Honestly, I think Ringo definitely did have some like very unique and like standalone drumming techniques, but
Hmm. Yeah, I would imagine like a an alternate reality when Pete was like a member of the Beatles in his like in their prime days and such. That'd be a
yeah.
that'd be a fun thing to imagine.
Hmm.
And speaking of imagine, that's the title of another John Lennon song.
Yes, yeah.
So amongst the four members, which one's the solo career do you like best?
That I gotta say that's a hard tie between George Harrison and Paul McCartney. I'd say.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm a big Paul fan. His
Yeah.
Wings era is really good.
Yeah, I love Wings.
Yeah. So who are your other musical influences?
Um, my other musical influences, I'd say, are Janis Joplin. She's a big inspiration of mine. Um, who else? Uh, Fleetwood Mac. Big Fleetwood Mac fan, and Stevie Nicks. I love Stevie Nicks.
Mhm.
Beth Hart. I don't know if you're familiar with Beth.
Tell me.
She's a really soulful blues. She's like on the go like now. She's not like she's more. I don't know. I guess she's like more old school, like rock and roll and blues than what there is today. Like than But yeah, she's really cool. She's a really powerful voice.
Mhm. So tell me your name again. Beth Hart?
Beth Hart. Yes.
Okay. I know of
Yeah.
the wrestler Bret Hart, but yeah. Yeah, he's from Calgary. But yeah, I'll check the works of Beth Hart soon
Yes.
after I finish this conversation. But yeah, in regards to Fleetwood Mac, have you listened to like their early albums before Nyx came in? That was their
No, I have not.
I believe Peter Green was the leader of the band at that time, and they were doing really good blues rock stuff. One of their big hits was Black Magic Woman. It was
Hmm.
more famously covered by the band Santana.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, they're quite extraordinary. So if you're into that kind of music, blues rock, you're welcome to check it out. Yeah, and speaking about Stevie Nicks, she's wonderful. I think
Mhm.
yeah, she has it all, like beauty and lyrics and singing
Yeah.
voice and such. Um, what are your favorite Max songs where Stevie Nicks is the lead vocalist?
hmm. I gotta. Sarah.
Mhm.
Sarah is probably my favorite one.
Mhm.
Or Gold Dust Woman.
Okay, yeah. I
Yeah.
don't know what album Sarah is in, but I know Goldust Woman's in their big album, right? Rumors.
Yeah. I don't recall what album Sarah's in, but it's one of my favorites. So
I believe Rhiannon is in
it's in
there.
the same album as Sarah, I think.
Oh, really? Huh. I
Yeah.
have to check that out. I know the album that Rhiannon's in. It's their second self-titled album,
Mhm.
so that's quite good. Are you into her like solo works, the ones bearing the Stevie Nicks artist name?
Some some of it I haven't. I'm like diving deeper into it like currently,
Yeah,
but not to say that I've listened to a lot of it, but yeah, I've listened to some of her stuff and really appreciated what it was and really liked it.
yeah, me too. I believe her. debut solo album was Belladonna with the Edge of 17 song.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
sounds
Well,
extraordinary.
that's classic. So,
What do you like most about her?
I like how unique she is and how unafraid she is of being herself, kind of thing. And just I don't know, just how powerful. I love powerful women. Gotta say, um, she she was not wanted in that band, you know, but
Mhm.
like she stayed anyways. Um, and I feel like if she wasn't in that band, they wouldn't have made it as big as what they did because like a lot of their hit songs she was either singing for or wrote. So
Yeah, I should mention Dreams too. It's my
yes,
favorite Matt
Dreams is
song.
really good.
And yeah, she was the lead singer. I'll
Mm-hmm.
say Christine McVie is also like a comparative talent. There are a
Yeah,
few like McVie songs that I really like too. I think You Made Loving Fun. It's uh
yeah,
it's a good one.
yeah. It is a good one.
Yeah, I believe she passed away a few years ago. Yeah,
Yeah,
tremendous loss.
yep.
Yeah. So what about Janis Joplin? I think that's the one that I'm actually not that familiar with. I know she's in a
Yeah.
band called Big Brother and a holding company, but I
Yes.
haven't
Yeah.
listened to much of her works.
She again another very powerful female voice that I look up to. So yeah,
What's a famous song about her? Is it Me and Bobby McGee, right?
yeah. It wasn't by her. Originally, it was by Chris Christopherson.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, that was one of the first songs I learned how to play and like actually sing on guitar and you know.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's one of my
So
mom's favorite songs. So
that's wonderful. So do you come from a musical family?
no, I do not actually. I come from a music loving family. We're very diverse in what we listen to and what we like. But nobody in my family is really musical. Now, me and my sister are, but other than that, not much.
Mhm. So when you became a musician, who were your first musical friends?
Huh. I'm still working on that. I don't have very many musical friends.
Mhm. I see.
Yeah.
So do you take part in the Newfoundland music scene? Oh.
Yes, yeah, I do. I went to the what was it called? Music and L Week
Mhm.
in September. And went to all like the workshops they had there. They were very helpful. But yeah, no, I have musical acquaintances, but none that I would really like, you know, talk to or meet up with regularly, and just, yeah.
I see. Yeah, I believe I got to know you through Becca Bartlett.
Yes,
She
yes, she was
played
telling me about you.
Yeah, she played bass, I believe, for the Paper Canoes
Yes,
band.
yeah.
Yeah, I got to talk to her plenty of times on this program too. Yeah, she referred me to you, and that's how I know about you.
Wow, awesome. Thanks, Becca.
Mhm. Yeah, thank you to Becca, and of course, I wish her a happy International Women's Day as well. So do tell
Mhm.
her that when you see her.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So, how do you separate between acquaintances and friends?
I don't know. I have a very small circle of friends, you know, because I just like it that way. I like my people, you know. I I'm not a very extroverted person. Like I have no problem talking to people. It's just I more so like to keep to my own kind of thing.
I see,
I'm very cautious of the company that I keep.
of course. Yeah.
Mhm.
Is it based on like a past negative experience that you had, or
Kinda, yeah. I'm just cautious, I guess.
I see.
Yes.
So are you still in school or have you
Yes,
graduated?
I graduate this year. So,
Oh, okay. Yeah. I think you
yes.
told me about it. So what school are you attending now?
Queen Elizabeth.
Hmm. Yeah, you mentioned the prom and such. I have never been to prom. It's not part of my
Mhm,
culture. I come from Vietnam, so tell me about that.
mhm.
Why are you excited about it?
Oh, okay. I don't know. It's just like I don't know. It's kind of like just like a full circle kind of closure, just one big celebration. It's like, wow, I've done this for 13 years. You know, I've had so many experiences, made so many memories, and it's just kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of a nice closure to everything. And, you know, you get all dressed up and You go and you have a ceremony and there's speeches, and I'm gonna be doing like musical performances. And actually, I wrote a song for my grad. Um, but yeah, it's just nice.
Wonderful. Yeah. Yeah, I grew up watching like American movies. Like there are those like high school movies where yeah, the prom often features
Yeah,
at the end of the movie and such. So I always have like this idea that prom is where, girls try on nice dresses and guys try to invite a girl to prom, but do not succeed at that.
yeah, that doesn't really happen. I don't know if it like did and it's just kind of died out, but like being asked to prom is not really a big thing. It's just kind of I'm going with my friends,
Mhm.
so
I see.
you know.
Yeah. So yeah, are your friends like musical people or not so much?
Two of them are in the school jazz band. But like they wouldn't like personally consider themselves musicians. Like I would consider myself a musician.
Mhm.
So,
I see.
yeah.
So so just playing music does not qualify you as a musician then.
Well, no, they don't. Not that they. I don't. It's in a different way because like they have played flute since like the fifth grade, and just like it is musician. They are musicians. They don't think they are, but they are. um, but I don't know. I think they think musician of more like artist,
Mhm.
which like they what is what they see me as. And I don't think they really see. Well, they themselves do not consider themselves artists because they don't write and they don't like. But they definitely are. But it's just they don't do it in the way that I do it.
Okay. Well, congratulations on graduating in advance. I know that it won't happen until like April or May or something like that.
Yeah, thanks.
So what are your plans afterwards?
Afterwards, I'm looking at going to Grenfell in January for theater arts.
Is that a college?
Yes, it's a university.
Okay.
It's part of MUN.
Hmm.
So
So you won't start your year till January.
yeah, no, I decided that it was just best for me to just hold off and not start in September. I just didn't think I'd be ready. So I'm just gonna hold off until January and then start the semester. And honestly, I don't really see anything wrong with that. So
Yeah, that's fair.
mhm.
Um, I wish you the best of luck in your
Thank
college
you.
years, of course.
Thank you.
So does the label artist apply to you?
I think it does. Yeah.
Hmm. How so?
Um. Well, I write poetry essentially, and I create something from that for other people to interpret and like just take as their own and make it their own kind of thing. And I think that's what art is. Taking something that or making something for somebody else to take as their own, or seeing something that somebody else has made and relating it to your own life.
I see. Yeah. I wonder if the path of being an artist is the one that you chose yourself or the one that is in some ways determined because you have the capacity to do so and you have the need, so to speak, to create.
I think the drive has always been there for me. It's always been at the back of my mind since I can remember. So I've always been either into music or art or performing or anything like that, which is why I'm going into theater arts because it's performing. It's on stage. I get to tell a story and other people get to, consume it and digest it and make it their own and just yeah.
How important is an audience to you?
An audience, it depends if it well, I what do you mean by that? Could you further clarify the question?
Um, I suppose you're you think of performing in theater and such, and of course artists don't tend to perform on an empty theaters except for I suppose rehearsals and such.
Yes. Well, an audience is very important to me. I love connecting with the crowd. It's what feeds me. Yeah, I think it's a very beautiful thing to be able to do.
Of course. Yeah. Yeah, I find that different forms of arts and performances engage with the audience in some way, in different ways, shape, or form. For example, I don't think movies engage with the audience all that much, but theater definitely does, and um, singing, of course,
Mm-hmm.
and comedy especially so. I
Yeah.
think there are certain art forms where the audience is more essential than others.
I like to see. I like to see that like light up on their face, or like the moment of like the realization of the story at hand. I just yeah.
So when people think about your name, Zelia, what kind of music should they think of?
I have not put myself in a box. I don't think, and I don't think I put myself in a box with other songs that I wrote that aren't released. Um, I think they should not think of what like I don't know, not expect of what to expect. If that makes sense.
Mhm. Yeah, they should expect the unexpected, basically.
Yes, expect the unexpected. Yes,
Mhm.
I don't like to keep things the same.
Mhm.
So
So does that mean that there are no two Zelia songs that sound the same as one another?
there's actually not. Not so far, and I'm sure it will happen. Songs that sound similar, but no, I don't think any of my songs sound the same.
Mhm.
So,
Right. So give us an example. How does your latest release, Venus Flytrap, sound different from the other songs that you've released?
well, Another Man Like You is very, very acoustic, very like I don't know how do I describe this? Hmm. It's very I don't know. It's just one guitar, right? And it's one voice, except for when like in the chorus when there's harmonies. But it's very soft and mellow. And the story of Medusa, it's powerful, but it's not groovy in the way that Venus Flytrap is kind of groovy. Um, but Venus Flytrap is still powerful. They I don't know. I love powerful voices, and I try to express that with my art as well. So
Mhm.
I think they all have that in common, except for maybe Another Man Like You. That's not the most powerful song I have vocally. It's probably the least, actually. Um, but that's something most of my songs have in common. But they're still not the same.
Of course. Yeah. So I wonder, in your definition of powerful, does that include being quiet and or being subtle?
My definition of powerful is projection. So, yeah.
Mhm. Tell me more about that.
Um, I don't know. I just really it's something I didn't know I was able to do until I sang White Rabbit by Jefferson Airplane for the first time, and I was like, "Oh, this is cool. I can really throw it out of me, right?" Um but it really you can tell it really turns heads, and it really lights up a room when you're singing kind of soft and quiet, and then you just belt it out of you, and just the reactions you get from people are it's really amazing to see.
Mhm. Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, I think about like there are different uh expressions, so to speak, of power and being powerful. I think
Mm.
there are certain like opera singers who can really nail that high note. That's powerful, but there are also like quiet singer-songwriter acoustic records. I think of I guess Joni Mitchell, which I can also believe to be quite powerful in itself.
Yes. Yeah. Powerful. There's power in lyrics, and then there's power in voice. And I like to add a bit of both. I
Mhm.
like empowering lyrics. That's kind of what I like.
Mhm. Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
and powerful voice. So yeah.
Mhm. What would you say are empowering lyrics?
Lyrics that really the common theme with a lot of my songs is it shows times of struggle, in times of grief. But in the end, usually around the end in the last line, I kick it around and close it all up and say, yes, you are struggling from this right now, but this is how we learn, and this is how we better ourselves, and this is how we, grow. So I feel like that realization. I do a lot of thinking, if you couldn't tell. Um, but yeah, I do really like to learn from my experiences, and I think everything has a purpose.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Yeah, I think about being empowered as in some ways asserting your agency. I suppose a lack of power is when you don't realize that you have an agency and you let fate, so to speak, determine your course of action. When you think about a classical Greek tragedy, when characters are are determined by fate or the gods and such, I think
Hmm.
that's not strength, but in classical Greek poetry, you have characters who are heroes who determine the course of history through their actions. I think like Achilles or Odysseus and such.
Hmm.
So
Yes.
yeah,
I Sorry.
no, I was interrupting you. You go ahead.
Okay, sorry. Yeah, I think of empowerment as like being sure of yourself and being confident in your capabilities and what you can do.
Well, since I mentioned Greek mythology, you wrote a song titled "The Story of Medusa," which everyone can listen to. I thought it was quite amazing.
Thank
Um,
you.
so why the song about this subject?
Well, it was actually originally for an English project
Hmm.
in school. And we were doing the Oedipus play,
Hmm.
um, which is, Greek plays.
Yeah, classic
Um,
Greek tragedy, as I
yes,
mentioned.
yes. Um, and we had to do like a visual project on one of the gods or goddesses. And I already knew the story of Medusa and just how tragic it was. Um, and so I went up to my teacher and I asked her, I was like, would it be okay if I didn't do a Greek god or goddess, but I did the story of Medusa because I know how much a god and a goddess play into that story.
Yeah,
So I will feature them, but I will make the story about her and telling her side of the story and like shedding the light on her and the truth of what really happened. And she was like, absolutely go for it. So I didn't know if I was going to be able to write the song in time. So I painted a picture. I painted a double sided picture of her as Medusa before she was turned into, the monster that she is, and her afterwards. But instead of making her look angry and like you should be fearful of her, I made her just look sad because the story of what happened to her is so, so sad. And then I ended up finishing the song in time, presented both, and got 100. So, yeah.
it's wonderful. Yeah, congratulations.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, from what I read about like Greek storytelling is that there are no good or evil characters. There are heroic,
No,
tragic characters.
yeah. They
And
all have. Sorry?
yeah, of course, Medusa is one of the tragic ones. So,
Yes.
okay.
They all have. None of them are perfect, and that's what I really like. I don't think anybody should be shown as perfect because nobody is.
Mhm.
So they
Yeah,
have their downs and they have their ups.
of course. Yeah, speaking of Greek mythology, are you a big fan of the Percy Jackson film TV series?
No, I've never watched it, never read any of the books, nothing. I've been told I should and that it's really good, but I haven't gotten around to it.
I see. I grew up with the movies, though. I think that turned me off of the universe as a whole because the movies are pretty bad. I think I read
Yeah,
some of the
yeah, they're
books,
really
and they're quite nice, but I wasn't able to get into them the moment that I turned 16. But I know that the new TV show is pretty good.
yeah, I've been told.
Yeah. Also, there's this one wrestler named Edge, or Adam Copeland that appeared in it. He plays Ares, the god of war. So that's the only thing that I know.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know more than me.
So, what stories would you like to tell in your music?
Um, I would like to tell stories of. That's a good question. I like to tell stories of being human, basically, is what you could summarize it as. Um, common, common experiences. I like to make my songs like relate or be able to relate to a large group of people. I make them personal, but not too personal. You know, yeah, I don't know. That's a hard question, but it's a good question.
Yeah, you should really check out the play Medea by Euripides, since you've already know Oedipus by Sophocles. It tells the story of Jason from Medea's perspective, Medea being his wife. Yeah,
All
you,
right.
you probably know about the Greek hero Jason. He commanded a ship called the Argo.
Mm, 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 I think I'm familiar.
Yeah,
I think.
demigod son of Zeus and such. So he married a woman named Medea, and they had kids together. But he, being a lustful man, he went out behind her back, and as a result, Medea drowned his children, their children. So that's
Yep.
the story.
Yes, that rings a bell. Yep.
Yeah. So there's a play that Euripides, the ancient Greek tragedian, wrote about it, and it's a masterwork. So if you're already familiar with Oedipus, then it, yeah,
I will check that
Euripides and Medea would be the next step. Yeah. Um, so within the Newfoundland music scene, who are you most inspired by?
out. Who am I most inspired by? Uh, that is a good question. Wow. I don't know. I think everybody here is just so talented and so good at what they do. Like we do have such a concentrated, like if you think about like how spread out it is and how small Newfoundland is compared to the rest of Canada, like it's not the smallest, but like just how much talent there is for the space that we have, it is incredible. So I don't know. I think Amity is really cool. I really like Amity.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, yeah,
yeah. The girl trio. I had them on the show like twice. Hillary,
yeah,
Alyssa, and Emma. So those guys. Yeah, they're quite
yeah.
cool.
Their harmonies are beautiful. If I could sing with them, that'd be great. I would love to be able to sing with them. I think we were now at the Music and L Awards last year. Me and Hillary were talking. We were like, yeah, we got to get together sometime, but it just never happened. But yeah, I would love to. But
Yeah, tell them I said hi next time you meet them.
yeah, yeah, I will.
Okay. So tell me about your upcoming concert schedule. Of course, save for the one that you have to do, you're supposed to do today, but who knows?
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna be playing at the Battery Cafe on April 3rd. I'm gonna be opening for. Oh my god, that's terrible. I forget. I'm gonna be opening for an artist at the Battery Cafe on April 3rd. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
not too busy as of lately.
Mhm.
But it usually picks up around the summer months. So
I see. Yeah.
mhm.
So are you excited for summer?
I am. I love summer. Summer's my favorite season.
Yeah, I'm glad to
Yeah.
hear it. Summer didn't used to be my favorite season because it gets really hot. I was back in Vietnam and such.
Yeah.
But I spent 4 years in Canada, not in Newfoundland, but in Ontario, where I studied for my undergraduate. And I remember spending 2 summers there because of COVID. So I get to swim in the Autonomy River, which flows through the town. And
Mhm.
that was like one of my fondest memories about summer.
Yeah, yeah, I love swimming. We have this little, we call it the pipe. We have this like little, it's like a little brook that goes through. My mom, she used to swim there when she was younger. We swim there now. It's kind of just like a sentimental kind of thing. But yeah, our summers are nice here.
All right. So what are your other interests than music?
Interests. I love painting. I don't do it enough because I don't really have time, but I do. I love it. And I love theater, and yeah, I'm pretty artsy. So
Wonderful.
yeah.
Yeah. So, which reminds me, I really like the cover art of your songs, the three of them that are released as of this recording. So, I wonder, do you do them on your own?
No, I do not. I'm not that talented. My friend Richard Bryceland, he's a phenomenal artist. He does them for me.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, our plan is with uh those single covers is we're doing them up like tarot cards.
Hmm.
And when I release an album, hopefully, it's gonna be like I'm gonna have all the tarot cards in my hand as the album picture. And possibly could sell them as merch, kind of so sell tarot cards as merch, which I think would be really cool.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah. So, how's the new album coming along?
it's not started. I have many songs that quite possibly could go on it, but it is not started.
Hmm. Yeah. So, what are the other songs that are lined up? What should we expect from you this year?
Well, I'm gonna be releasing another single in the next few months
Hmm.
called "The Woman with No Name," so watch out for that one. But other than that, there's not much really lined up to be released.
Okay. Yeah. I look forward to listening to that song, of course, and I look forward to hopefully having you on the show to discuss it when it's out.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah, and I'm intrigued by the title already. So, to what extent you can tell us about the single to tell?
Well, the woman with no name is she's kind of this mysterious lady. This is like set back in the 60s. She's like this like hippie-esque kind of lady. She's very free-spirited. Nobody really knows. Nope, nobody knows her name. Because she tells everybody that she has a different name than what she actually does. Kind of to no roots attached kind of thing. Yeah, nobody knows really where she came from, where she came from, who she is, what she's doing. She never stays in one place for very long, but she dies at a very young age. So
Mhm.
yeah, that's kind of the story of her.
I see. I wonder if
Hmm.
since she doesn't have a name, she could be any name, including I suppose
She
Zealya.
maybe I'm her.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I'm guessing, yeah, like you said, the song is about the 60s, and I'm guessing you have a great fascination with that particular decade. So
I do.
what about the 60s that interests you?
I'm really intrigued by the 60s and 70s, just like with the whole like I don't know, the whole civil rights movement, and I just think it was such an incredible time for music. Like so much like there's so much experiments with music going on because like electric was just taken on the scene and just well, there was a lot of other substances involved which, you know, led to a lot of the experiments in music in that time period, but I think it was just so free. But yeah.
Hmm.
And of course Woodstock. Like, man, why couldn't I have been there? But yeah.
Yeah, it's a culmination of what the
Yeah.
60s represented.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, you
Yes.
you probably heard about the Altamont Freeway concert, right? I think it
Yes.
occurred about, I think it was either the same year in 71 or something. There's this documentary, Give Me Shelter, about the Stones and such.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I suppose your interest in the 60s and its music is not uncommon. Like, when it comes, people remember the music of the 60s or they go back to the music of the 60s more than any other decade, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you believe that to be the case?
I just think I think they were dealing with so much and they had so much to write about. Um And I just think it's an era that will never be returned to again. I think it's legendary, personally. I just think I don't know, I think maybe it was like our peak in music, in my opinion. Not saying this is correct, but just I think it was the peak in music. And yes, there's great stuff being released today, but there was so much great stuff released in that one time period, and just such a short time period too. And it was just I don't know. I think it was just truly amazing.
Hmm. Yeah. I would recommend that you check out Miles Davis's album In a Silent Way. I believe it was released in 69 or
Hmm.
67, but either one of those years. Yeah, you mentioned electric instruments being a thing, and I think that was one of his first album, if not the first album, where he incorporates electric guitar into his jazz recordings. I
Hmm.
believe John McLaughlin played the guitar in that one, and he would go on to do like amazing jazz works as
Yes.
Mahavishnu Orchestra and others. But yeah, mm, that album in some ways kind of like changed the jazz landscape. Like people who
Yeah.
are like really into jazz would say that he has departed from jazz at that point because of the electric guitar. But I would say that he invented a new musical genre basically.
Yep.
So yeah, In a Silent Way by Miles Davis. If you haven't listened to anything of his before, I suppose that would be a good start.
Yes. Yep. I will be sure to do that.
Yeah, and I suppose the 60s nostalgia comes from the fact that, at least in when it comes to music, I don't know if it's the same with like movies or TV, but I suppose that musicians who bel there were musicians at that time who believed that music is important. It's not just instruments and sounds. It can change society and it has a it has a more morally transcendent purpose. So that's why
Yep.
people still go back to it.
Yep. It is important.
Mhm.
It
I
is.
I certainly don't think that music holds uh as important a place in our culture as it was back then.
I I don't think the lyrics are as substantial. Majority. I don't mean this for all. Certainly not for all, but I think that there was a lot more substance and a lot more meaning behind the lyrical aspect, like back in the 60s and 70s, than there is today. And I think that was because there was a lot of struggle, but I kind of have a feeling that we're going to be returning to that or something similar to it soon with the state that our world is in currently. So,
Fair enough. Yeah. And I suppose that the music at that time is more idealistic. Yeah, I certainly detect a lot of cynicism in music that came afterwards, especially I think in the 90s.
yes.
So, do you prefer music that are idealistic or less so?
Could you further explain that?
Yeah. So, you know how people who are idealistic, they look into things that are better. They believe in better things, basically. And I guess the opposite of that being cynics. That uh, there are people who do not believe that things can be better, or they believe that things can only get worse.
I think it's a good mixture of both, kind of, because I feel like things could always be better. Always, things are always able to improve. But I also think that things could always be much worse, but we need to prevent things from getting much worse. So I feel like I don't know. I'm a big fan of protest music as well. Like Bob Dylan is one of my big inspirations as well with his protest music and yeah.
Yeah. I'm a much bigger fan of his storytelling styles. His my favorite album of his is Blunder Tracks. That was in '75. Right? He yeah, there were these really intricately woven, almost short stories
Yes.
about many things, many subjects, and um, he mentioned that he read the stories of Anton Chekhov as an inspiration, and it really shows.
Hmm.
And yeah, when it comes to the protest songs by Dylan, I'd say one of my favorites being "Only Upon in Their Game." Have you heard that one? Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Medgar Evers and everything. That's a that's a very powerful song. It's one of the more overlooked ones. I believe "Blowing in the Wind" and also "The Times They Are Changing" are more memorable.
Yeah, they're the more popular ones.
Have you seen the Dylan movie with that
I
kid,
have.
Timothy something?
Yeah, Timothy Chalamet.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I thought it was a very good depiction.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Did he do all the songs as Bob Dylan?
Yeah, he did. He did. It was very impressive. He worked for I think it was 5 years, like training his voice to sound like Bob Dylan's and learning guitar in the style of which Bob Dylan plays and playing harmonica. He was so dedicated.
Mhm. Well, I really should check out the soundtrack first before I watch the movie, to see how
Yeah.
it goes.
Like you can tell it's not Bob Dylan, but you can just tell how similar and how much he worked to get his voice to sound like him.
Mhm. Yeah. I'll be I'll be interested in checking out like the early influences of Dylan. In some
Yeah.
ways that included like the kind of early folk music and also beat poetry. So Woody Guthrie and
Yes.
Allen Ginsberg.
Mhm.
Those are very important parts of his early upbringing. Like I think later on he would incorporate other literary styles into his songwriting. But yeah,
Mhm. Yep. Definitely an incredible mind.
yeah, certainly is. And yeah, he's still performing, which is quite
Yeah.
incredible. He must be in his
Crazy. Yeah, my
80s.
dad saw him in concert actually.
Really?
Yeah, he did.
Uh-huh.
Hmm. I long before I was born, but yeah, still, still very cool.
Mhm. So, final question to you, Zelia. What does music mean to you?
What does music mean to me? I think music. Wow, that's a broad question. Music is a way to connect to myself through others' music and through my own, and it's a way to find closure in the things that I am going through and that are happening to me or happening to other people around me, or just outright storytelling because I love storytelling and I love being able to teach and teach people valuable life lessons, and I think that's what music means to me.
Awesome. That's a
Yeah,
wonderful note to end on. Thank you very
thank
much,
you.
Zelia, for
Thank you
joining the
very
show.
much. All right, thank you so much.